Want to play roulette? Here's a tip. European roulette has a lower house edge than American style. The lower the house edge, the better shot you have at winning. Most online casinos offer European roulette. So, if I were you, I'd get spinning. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
You know, out of 30 teams, Gabe, only 10 have a winning record against left-handed pitchers. 10-19, and there's one team that's 12-12.
See, I
think it's the Yankees.
Yeah. See, I didn't know the exact number, Scott, but I would have, I knew where you were going with this. In which there's just not as many left-handed hitters. They're not as good against them.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
You have to imagine it'll be Rory and Tommy. So that is just such a strong foursomes pairing. And then I look over here at the Americans. I'm like, golly, if Patrick Cantlay, they just need him to make the team because you got Scotty and Russell. If Xander's going out, you have to him and Pat have been so good in the foursomes. Bryson's going to have to play. Who's he going to play with?
The Smiley Show, only on.
GameTime Decisions. We're live with you on SportsGrid on a Monday night. Kevin Walsh for the next 90 minutes as we look to get in the mix with the Major League Baseball board that is not monstrous, but I think does feature a pretty big game in the Astros and the Red Sox. We will get into that in its entirety. We will also hit a lot of the ongoings in the world of the National Football League. The incredible preseason debut for Shedeur Sanders is incredible. Too strong of a word. We'll discuss Anthony Richardson maybe loosening the grip on the starting job. What is going on with Matthew Stafford? We also were given the first AP poll for the college football season, which is fantastic. Though the AP poll did not get the memo that the coaches poll had, which was make sure Texas and Ohio State are 1-2 so we can bill that as 1-2. Instead, Penn State is sandwiched in the middle. That's good. Penn State, absolutely. They've never lost to teams of the caliber of Ohio State and Texas. Yeah, definitely sure this is the year. I know. The Major League Baseball board is already underway. It's Reds-Phillies. I have gone through this baseball board, Santa Claus style. Checked it once, checked it twice. I like one spot a lot. I didn't love much. I considered the Reds here with what felt like a decent spot for Abbott and a solid enough fade spot for Taijuan Walker. I continue to track this Cincinnati group. Can they get the job done and sneak into the back portion of the NL wildcard race? It's possible. It is. They'll need to handle business here against Philadelphia today because you're going to get Suarez and Sanchez in the next two, though. We are supposed to be getting Hunter Green, I believe, in the third game of this series, which could be a big boost for Cincinnati. There's a lot going on in those NL standings, but the main event tonight is on the American League side of it, which is the Astros and the Red Sox, and this is a big one. I really believe that. I think one of the biggest reasons it's a big one is Garrett Crochet has the ball for the Boston Red Sox. Crochet has now won, the Red Sox have won, I should say, 10 of the last 11 Garrett Crochet starts, which is incredible stuff. And he has been the ace that they had hoped for since bringing him in. He is tied atop the league lead for wins, if you're into that kind of thing. He has the second best ERA, if you're into that kind of thing. And he's been pretty good with the strikeout stuff, trailing only Zach Wheeler and Tariq Skubal by 4. Trailing Tariq Skubal has been the case for Garrett Crochet all season long, but that distance has closed significantly. It is now minus 210 for Tariq Skubal to win the AL Cy Young. Garrett Crochet down to plus 150. This a result of Skubal for really the first time this season, maybe second, having 2 rough starts in a row. 2 consecutive starts where his ERA climbed instead of falling. It is at the moment sitting at a 2.35. Again, hardly terrible, but behind Garrett Crochet's, that's real. Still ahead slightly in the strikeout count. Crochet will take that lead back tonight. Crochet at 148 and 1/3 innings pitched. Right now, it's 145 and a third innings pitched for Skubal, so it's a 3-inning gap for Crochet, and he's going to go now. So, that it'll bounce back and forth, but this race isn't over. And I've asked that about a number of races here on, in this Major League Baseball season. And I guess eventually one of them was going to not be over. That feels the case tonight for Red Sox Astros. Now, I mentioned they've won 10 of their last 11 starts when Crochet's had the ball. They need that to be 11 of the last 12, as Boston just dropped the series to San Diego, losing 3 of 4 now after they had a nice winning streak starting to build up coming out of the All-Star break. The Astros do what the Astros do. Torture Yankee fans. They take 2 of 3 in the Bronx. Jose Altuve hitting home runs like one of the all-time great power hitters because, of course, the incredible thing is we talk about the need of the win for Boston. It's because they want to get back in the win column. They'd love to continue to apply pressure to Toronto. But it is the Astros who now have a team hot on their heels for first place in the division. That would be the Seattle Mariners. I've talked on the show on the idea about Seattle getting on a run, and I was happy to include the Seattle Mariners as one of the 7 best teams in Major League Baseball when we did our Kevin 7 last Tuesday. The issue I found for Seattle is they were in the division with Houston. It appears odds makers, maybe bettors as well, want Seattle. They are buying Seattle in droves because it is the Seattle Mariners who are in front of the Houston Astros in the World Series market. It's the Seattle Mariners who now find themselves tied for the 3rd best odds to win the World Series. That is where we are at now on the Seattle Mariners. And the divisional race has been moving and moving and moving, and we have a minus price next to both Houston and Seattle, as the books believe this has now reached coin flip territory. It's an interesting set of games that are going to run up here for Seattle. 3 against Baltimore, 3 against the Mets, 3 against the Phillies, all on the road. The Astros are going to need to continue to stack them, and can they rely on Hunter Brown? They believe so. Can they rely on Framber Valdez? They believe so. But the starting pitchers in their next 2 games are big questions. Most likely shading no. But we'll see. Tomorrow they'll throw Spencer Arrighetti. First game back, not great. But today they throw Christian Javier. Javier gets the baseball for the first time this season. Christian Javier is someone that the Astros, I think they trust. I think they look to rely on. And this is a team who is getting healthier as we go on. Before you know it, Yordan Alvarez will be back. But with the nature of the Mariners, at some point I'll become the boy who cried wolf. Just let Houston get healthy. Just let Houston get healthy. Game back in the division. Let him get healthy. Let him get healthy. 4 back in the division. Those are the kind of things that can happen. So the time is now for the Astros. I do lean Houston in this game, but the joke behind the scenes has started to become what else is new. Just about every Astro game, it feels like I think the Astros are the side. The spot I trust the most tonight, it's the under 8.5 runs at -120 in Dodgers Angels. Good Jose Soriano spot, who's rocked his last start, which is why against Tampa Bay, we actually had faded him here on the show. And I'll back Yamamoto, who I think starting to get back in that ace level groove right now. So I'll go under 8.5. In our main event is where you'll find the Casino Chris best bet. That's going to be on Alex Bregman up against his old team for 2+ hit-run RBI. Sam Yarnell checks in with a tennis play because kind of a tennis guy all of a sudden. Yannick Sinner at the under in his match. And then AJ goes to the total late-night A's-Rays over 10. I don't hate it. I just feel like I lose every total I play in Sacramento. So I'm going to back off, and I'll root AJ in. We'll talk more about it all next here on Game Time Decision.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Game Time Decisions here on a Monday night. Hosted this evening by myself, Kevin Walsh. Hosted this Thursday, this Friday, and then according to sources, a.k.a. Tom Vecchio, on next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Tom Vecchio's here. Tom, great to see you, sir.
How's it going? Yeah, I will be hosting this coming Thursday, Friday, and then the following Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, holding things down. I guess I'll be at the helm. I'll be under center, whatever you want to call it, for those shows.
A lot of people are asking, will we get a Tom 7 on that Tuesday edition? Well, you don't think it doesn't? Tom's 10? Is that what you want? Tom's 2?
Tom's 12. We talked about that yesterday, Sam and I.
Oh, wow. So you guys are all right. So you guys are already trying to figure this thing out. Yeah. I see that. They're not going to miss me here. All right. Interesting. So, Tom, let me ask you about the game tonight in Houston with the Astros and the Red Sox, where Garrett Crochet gets the baseball booked as a better than -160 favorite, it looks like, here. What are your expectations for this game, whether you're betting it or not? What do the lines kind of tell you here?
Well, I am betting it. I'm on the under. Spoke about this game this morning on the early line. Really like the under in this one. That's just what it sets up to be, right? Crochet is absolutely awesome. It's always an interesting scenario where we have like two teams traveling. And at that point, like I tend to lean with the better pitcher, even I don't want to say regardless of the odds because they're obviously extremely important, but Javier is just a complete wild card. He's a giant question mark tonight just because we don't know what we're going to be getting from him in his first start of the season. So I might as well trust Crochet with just a fantastic set of underlying metrics to trust, knowing that the Astros are a little bit taxed, especially parts of their bullpen. I will take Garrett Crochet going 8 innings with at least 8 strikeouts.
So you're going to back Crochet overall by playing the under in this one. Crochet and the market movement, Tom, that we're seeing in this Cy Young race at -210. I don't know if anybody's ponying up to bet Skubal at this number, but it's a really significant better price if you were trying to find a way to back him in this Cy Young race. Where are you at currently on the AL Cy Young race?
I'm still in the same spot. Skubal is, I believe, going to win it. Some of his recent starts weren't great. What was it, last Friday? He went 4 innings, right, and give 4 earned runs or 5 earned runs against the Angels, if I remember correctly. That was his first time in 38 starts where he did not go at least 5 innings, if I remember that correctly. He's, one bad start does not change things for a pitcher. Giving up a few home runs here or there. Every pitcher who's ever won the Cy Young has a couple of bad starts. Like, one bad start does not change things when the entire body of work is absolutely unbelievable. I will say, if you do like Garrett Crochet, I would bet him tonight before he puts up a big performance against the Astros, because I just think the line will move if he has an awesome game.
But I think, if I'm hearing you correctly, the dream scenario is Crochet pitches a gem, and then you get a better number on Skubal, realistically.
That's also true, and that would also help my Skubal MVP ticket in the AL, which I fully don't expect to win. But
no, that's done. I'm on level with you. That's done.
Totally
that's done.
On board with it.
Yeah, we thought there was a chance. I thought you had yourself a nice number. That I don't think that's going to ride anymore. Now, The other bit of market movement, though, Tom, entering into this game, is the AL West number. And I don't know if this is something that, you got into on Pro Baseball Today. Of course, Pro Baseball Today on Sundays, both Tom and Donnie do an excellent job breaking down the entire slate, but also those top headlines and market movements. And this is a notable one here. This has since settled back to actually -115 each way, Mariners, Astros. But what do you make of Seattle gaining on Houston like this?
They're playing awesome. And I was here last week, and we spoke about this when you did your Kevin 7 for, I believe it was World Series, and we talked about, the Brewers weren't on that list, whatever it might be. Everything is going in the Mariners' direction. Like, it truly is. And I know we talked about, there's pedigree with the Astros, and you're waiting for your Don to come back, and that's certainly a very viable thing, but everything that the Mariners are doing warrants them to take money, and therefore the odds makers to move the odds. There's obviously not some indication or some guarantee that they're going to win the division, but with how they're playing right now, even though Eugenio Suarez has been downright bad since the trade deadline, the team around him is very good, and the pitching staff is unbelievable. And I know we can get into Javier now being back. Spencer Arrighetti is now back for the Astros, but at the end of the day, those are still question marks for the Astros when we know the pitching staff for the Mariners is healthy and healthy and B, excellent.
The incredible thing, I can tell you this right now, it does not matter what happens. There's no way I end up on any Mariners tickets. The midnight trade, of course, that they made for Eugenio Suarez, they sat at 22-1 to win the World Series, I believe, on FanDuel. And it was, because it was midnight, Tom, if you wanted it, you could get it, right? It wasn't there for 2 seconds. I mean, they're more than half that now. They're down to 10-1. And this is where, and this is the stuff that Tom and I do, we see eye to eye on. I'm not betting Seattle at 10-1. No way. I get it. Upside, the staff. I get that. But call me a pedigree merchant if you want. I got nothing proven on this baseball team. And we're now looking at them as the shortest odds of any team in the AL while they're not even in first place in their division. What are they, the New York Yankees?
I mean, I 100% agree. Like, if you have a Mariners ticket prior, I don't want to say prior to literally today, but like at 18-1, 19-20, like 22-1, awesome. Great to have that ticket. Totally on board that. Now at 10-1, I would not be betting on them. Like, we missed the boat. And if you had a Mariners ticket in your back pocket just because you happen to have it throughout the season, you specifically, that would be fine. You could also say, I'm still not willing to reinvest in them at 10-1 because that's a crazy price to have. It'd be crazy to bet on the Blue Jays, to win the division at -110 or whatever they are after they were at 1,500. You would never bet on them at -110. That's insane. Even though they could still very well win the division, you already missed the boat.
And what I would say is, right, I guess to soften your stance a little, for me at least, if you want to bet Toronto at -110, sure. But it's the people, Tom, who saw them at 6-1, 5-1, 4-1, thinking, didn't pull the trigger. If, as somebody I have the texture, I was like, man, Seattle 22-1 staring me in the face. And I was like, I'm not there yet. I'm just not there. I'm not betting this team at 10-1. We'll talk a little bit more about your baseball slate here with co-host of Pro Baseball Today, Tom Vecchio, next on Game Time Decisions.
We all know nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino. But playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour. But online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Out of 30 teams game, only 10 have a winning record against left-handed pitchers. 10-19, and there's one team that's 12-12.
See, I
think it's the Yankees.
Yeah. See, I didn't know the exact number, Scott, but I would have, I knew where you were going with this, in which there's just not as many left-handed hitters. They're not as good against them.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid. This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
All right, with you right here on Game Time Decisions, we're joined by Tom Vecchio. Tom, did we get to anything else on the baseball board that you're on? We're on that under. You're on that under tonight for the Astros and the Red Sox. Anything else for you on this card?
Yeah, Rays Athletics over 10. Ryan Pepio has been bad as of late. It's obviously a fantastic ballpark. We've said this a million times. It's 90 degrees, wind blowing out. Jeffrey Springs for the Athletics. He's been better as of late. There's no doubt about it, but two bad bullpens. Obviously, Mason Miller no longer there for the Athletics. They're just factually weaker. And, I'll continue to say, we got some hitters in these lineups. There's no doubt about it. There's legit power in the Athletics lineup. And I don't care if they win this game. It's, coin flip, as you can see. But I think we just see runs.
I mentioned earlier during our best bet segment, Tom, I just had to step away. I lose too many totals in Sacramento. I can't figure it out. Zag under, good spot over. It's AJ's best bet tonight, though. He's playing the over in that one at 10. A reminder, Chris is on the Alex Bregman 2+ hit run RBI in that Red Sox-Astros game that we've talked about. I'm on the under, Halos Dodgers. And then we've got a tennis bet from Sam Yarnell because that is what he does.
This is a great step for Sam. It's not a 40-1 home run parlay for his best bet.
To be fair, though, Tom, to him, the other day, preseason, gave out a best bet Eagles-Ravens moneyline parlay 9-1.
I heard.
Oh, you heard?
Mm.
Yeah. Preseason, I'll say this, preseason, not bad. Not bad. I was enjoying it. A couple things were working out.
Yeah.
There were some good spots there. What were you betting?
We've seen a lot of overs. Well, I was doing IGL on Saturday with Brady and then Sunday with Joe Ranieri. So, I've been in the mix a little bit, taking some spots here, there. A lot of overs, far more than I was anticipating. I will say some of the player props that FanDuel and DraftKings are offering are bananas, and you should be betting those.
Yeah.
Have for a touchdown on the first drive for Cam Ward was plus 500 or whatever it was. Not only a touchdown on the first drive, and you're only getting plus 500. Crazy work. Don't do it.
So here's my take, Tom, though, and some of the stuff I was diving into. I think you have to be going for plus money. I do this with no braggadocious, please. Trust me, I lost plenty of these the other way, but I took the Dolphins to score 2 rushing touchdowns at plus 280 in their game. Okay. Because the idea was, it's Tua, he's going to throw, whatever. So, it's just play a plus money reverse angle. I think there's, I'm not betting minus 170. Oh, no way they don't throw a touchdown pass. It's still preseason. With props, let's be wise about what we're going to do. I would ask you this, though, because I know this stuff is still at least up your alley. I think it finished 14-2 to the over, right, with all the preseason. Principal under, back the trend, if somebody wants to bet preseason and they said, hey, what is your take on all these games going over? You say what?
I would say, coaches are being more aggressive. They're trying to instill in their team. They're not just throwing away these games, right? It's not just some extended version of a shared practice that we see. New coaches and the Harbaugh never loses in preseason. They're trying to instill a winning way, a winning culture in their team. So they're we're not just going to run the ball and bleed the clock out. We're actually going to try and win these games. Regardless of how good our team is going to be, we're going to try. Therefore, they're actually pushing the ball downfield. And because you are ultimately playing against third and fourth string corners, a wide receiver is super fast. He's going to catch a ball and break one off at a certain point. One missed tackle can turn into a 50-yard play, which sets up an extra touchdown or a field goal opportunity. So I would ultimately look at the quarterbacks on both sides, not the starters, the depth, to see if we actually have a viable quarterback play to at least get us close to the total.
Yeah, I think for me, because again, I enjoy betting preseason football, NFL. I don't know what to say about it. I know some people are oh, that's ridiculous. If you're smart about it, you can find your advantages. If all these games are in the 40s, I'm going to look for some wraparound unders. That's really all there is to it, because that's not what we were getting. The Bucs game, now look, it went over in ridiculous pick six fashion, like a Will Levis legacy play, but that game was 32.5, 33.5, right? I'm looking right now, Tom, 42.5, Seattle, Kansas City, 40.5, Indy, Green Bay. I see 2 37.5s. Clearly they've shifted these numbers. So there's going to be spots to. Now, look, Commanders, Bengals, if Burrow plays a half, there's nothing you can do. It's a rocket ship. But pick those spots. Tom Vecchio, Game Time Decisions. He's got you covered Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and, of course, on Pro Baseball Today. We're hearing a lot about this Tom's 12. We'll be right back. It's Game Time Decisions.
We all know nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino. But playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour. But online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
You know, out of 30 teams game, only 10 have a winning record against left-handed pitchers. 10-19, and there's one team that's 12-12.
See, I
think it's the Yankees.
Yeah. See, I didn't know the exact number, Scott, but I would have, I knew where you were going with this. In which there's just not as many left-handed hitters. They're not as good against them.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid. This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
In the mix with you on a Monday. Delightful to have everybody here. It is Game Time Decisions. Astros Red Sox is the big one on this baseball board. Doesn't start for an hour. Your in-game live crew will have you covered for that. The baseball board right now does feature Reds Phillies in action going into the bottom of the fourth. Cincy up 1-0. Abbott so far has been fantastic. You might even say perfect. We do have Yankees Twins starting in just a couple of moments here. It's a Yank spot. I didn't find anything else to pair it with, but the Yankees to win this series, if there's another series you really like, I think is solid. To me, that's where my mind is at. I think the big thing to track here, though, for the Yankees, whose odds have started to pull back now in that futures market, in the World Series market, it's figuring out where are we at with Aaron Judge? Because Judge came back a week ago tomorrow, and he's 3 for 15. He's not had a multi-hit game yet. Still walking a good amount, not a great amount. 1 RBI, no home run. I think it's fair to say you need to see Judge hit a home run here in this Minnesota series. Now, you're not getting anything cheap at the window. You are not getting, oh, look, Judge is struggling. Here's plus 250. You're underneath plus 175 for an Aaron Judge home run today. But as I've talked about, we talk about the numbers and wanting to get the best of it. Will the Yankees make the playoffs? The odds still tell us yes. If so, a 10-1 number is now a 15-1 number. Can we see 16, 17, 18? Can we see that 20? And is that at that point, do the Yankees become an interesting bet? When we think about the American League outright market, right? A team that's been booked as the favorites and seemingly weren't going to be moved at any point is now outside of the top 4. Yanks way back in between the two teams in our main event, the Astros and the Red Sox. Yanks check in, plus 650. I mean, you get an idea of how this is, starting to move. It's a tough needle to thread. I'll say with the baseball futures market, where sometimes you're looking for a couple of losses to get you a better number. So you're getting these Yankees losses. But all of a sudden you pick your head up, and now it's not only holding off Texas, who's lost 4 in a row. Now the Guardians are red hot. Now this Cleveland team handles their business against Colorado in a series, against Minnesota in a series, sweep the Mets, handle business against Chicago. They play Miami for 3 at home, Atlanta at 3 for home, go to Arizona for 3. These are teams not in the playoff race. So the Guardians now, back in it. You're trying to thread this needle of can I get a big-time Yankee number while you're on that chopping block. It's a little similar in the National League. I am not unconfident all of a sudden a week removed from Kevin 7. I think any Brewer fan would be right to shove it in my face as they currently sit with not just baseball's best record, but baseball's best record by 5 games. The best run differential, a 9-game win streak, and I left them out. With that said, it's a long season. And I think it's possible that the Cubs can still catch them. And I'm still eyeing the Chicago Cubs after the series in Toronto as a target to potentially be played to win the National League. But you're trying to thread a needle. They're 6 back. Do I want them 8 back? I mean, at that point, it's a chunk of games, right? For those that don't know, we've talked about it. The Cubs are a target because they host the Brewers for 5 straight games in Wrigley. You go into that series 8 back, you could win 5 straight against your opponent, and it's only down to 3. Like you know what I mean. So it's threading the needle of a good Cubbies number. But at plus 850, that's tempting. At 17-1 to win a World Series, it becomes interesting. It does. And I would even say the Mets are a little tempting. I know they're struggling massively right now. I understand that. And I think there is a doom and gloom nature that it can occasionally surround the Mets, where it's like, all right, season over, nothing to see here. We're done. Lead, blown leads, this, that, and the third. And it was a tough series. Starling, Marte, iced at home in game number 1. Isaac Collins with the walk-off in game 3 of the sweep. But can the Mets get back on a run here? I think they can. They become interesting at almost 10-1 to win the NL. But one of the reasons I'm not running yet to anything is if you get an NL playoff faller, it's likely my Cincinnati Reds that catch this up. And I say my Cincinnati Reds because they're the only team so far I've bet to win the World Series. And if this Reds team can crash into the postseason party, then that's a big deal. And they have Hunter Green right around the corner. They're unsweepable. I mean, that's just what it is. Just nothing you can do. They're not the best at winning series. Who knows? Might start off in the win column tonight against the Phils. We'll see. The other thing that this team has going for him, though, assuming he can hold up, when you talk about pairing Hunter Green with this great Abbott season, the acquisition of Littell, Chase Burns. Chase Burns is flirting with 15K per 9, which, for perspective, smokes the strikeout rate of Paul Skeens from a year ago. Now, the issue for Chase Burns is he's had a couple of ugly ones, none uglier than start number 2 in Boston, where he gave up 5 earned runs in a third of an inning. But removing the Bristol thing, where he only was able to be out there for an inning and still racked up 2 Ks, we're now on 4 straight starts where Chase Burns has struck out 10 batters. Chase Burns is basically the best strikeout pitcher in baseball right now. Think about how good everybody is in Major League Baseball. Skeen, Skubal, Crochet, Wheeler, all these guys. Chase Burns is right now the best strikeout pitcher in baseball. And I'm old enough to remember when we were here on this show, on this desk, watching Chase Burns strike out every Yankee and infringing as the favorite of the NL Rookie of the Year race. So on a Moonshot Monday, I'll take a 30-1 chance on Chase Burns. I don't care that the ERA is a 5. I don't care that Isaac Collins is full of moments. I don't care that Drake Baldwin might actually be the most talented of the bunch. All right, maybe I do because I'm rooting it in for AJ, but Burns can crash this party. And at 30-1, I think he's worth a shot. Some other moonshots there for you. Chris, for a little 2+ hit run RBI tree pack. Bregman, Goodman, Betts. Yarnell, Cowboys, passing touchdown each game, 10-1. Not mad at it. AJ, Yandy Diaz, 2 hits. Caminero, 2 hits. Rooker, 2 hits. Whoa! Nick Kurtz, 2 hits, 45-1. That's a sizz. That's a sizz. Not bad, folks. Couple of moonshots here on a Monday. We turn our attention to NFL preseason talk next.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Monday night here on SportsGrid, and this past weekend, the preseason delivered a lot of enjoyable games, but it was the Shedeur Sanders game that kind of took things by storm. And I want to try and walk the waters of this game, if you will. Shedeur went out there, throws 14 of 23, 6 yards per pass attempt, 2 touchdowns, doesn't turn it over, took a couple of sacks, but he was good in this game. He was not amazing, out of this world, light the universe on fire. But I need people to understand that isn't the standard when a guy falls the way Shedeur did. And so many people tried to say, oh, he just wasn't that good. It had nothing to do with nothing else. I don't think that is in any way true. I think it is undeniable that outside stuff beyond the tape pushed Shedeur Sanders down the draft board. Now, I think it's absolutely legitimate to suggest that Shedeur didn't have first-round tape and maybe even didn't have enough to get anyone to take a chance on him in round 2. But Shedeur falling into round 5, clearly, we had some stuff going on. Again, let's not be ridiculous about it. The reason the performance is so noteworthy, though, is Shedeur Sanders enters into this game against the Carolina Panthers. Panthers go with starters for a little bit. Browns go with starters for none of it. So you can't do the, it's backups, it's preseason stuff. Shedeur was not out there throwing to Jerry Jeudy and David Njoku, okay? His best play or the highlight, grab from Luke Floria, come on, all right? One of the Caden Davis touchdowns is not necessarily going to have people saying, like, oh, he was carried by Caden Davis. Let's not be ridiculous about any of this, okay? The reason it's so important is Shedeur is trying to climb a depth chart to secure his spot within the organization. A team does not naturally carry 4 quarterbacks. So you enter into a game, and if you're the 4th quarterback on the depth chart, you're in trouble. You do now end up with an updated odds board that has, I think, correctly reacted to game number 1 of the preseason. Shedeur Sanders entered that game 35-1. Well behind Dylan Gabriel. Forget Pickett and Flacco. I don't think you're going to see Shedeur start in week number 1. I do think you will see Browns fans clamoring for Shedeur in any and all home losses. Now, let's tuck that away. I think it is fair to say after that Sanders game, Gabriel not playing, and it's not as if he's been lighting it up in camp. Shedeur has, at minimum, drawn level with Gabriel, should really be in front of him. It puts the Browns in a weird spot, though, because you're not going to cut a 3rd-round draft pick. You're not. You are not cutting Dylan Gabriel. So, you either trade Flacco, trade Pickett, or you trade Shedeur Sanders. Gabriel's the only guaranteed to actually be on the roster. Now, 2 others will be there next to him, I imagine. But you won't get a 3rd-round pick for Gabriel. And you're not going to take a loss on it. That's ridiculous. You might get a 4th for Sanders. You might. You'll take a loss on Pickett. It is what it is. And Flacco, you'll take whatever. It would be a win if you traded him. But I think now that Shedeur, unless he's traded, has cemented his spot on this football team and has potentially put himself in a really good position to jump Dylan Gabriel, the clamoring, and if one of Flacco or Pickett are gone, that noise for Sanders is going to be real. Maybe some of you out there are higher on the Browns than I am. I think this team is set up pretty terribly. Outside of Myles Garrett, it's hard to like much of the defense. The offensive line is a lot of guys that used to be really good, but are all past their prime. It looks bad. The running back room is worse. The pass catchers, it's not like it's a top half of the league group. So let's say this ends up with Flacco getting that week 1 start. Cincinnati, Baltimore, Green Bay, Detroit are the first 4. You want to be generous? Maybe they cover 2 of the games. Hard to find a win there. Maybe. The next 4, Minnesota, in London, go to Pittsburgh instead of taking the bye. Host Miami, go to New England. Through 8 weeks of football. If this team is 2-6, I think that's fine. I think that's totally fine to expect. I think 0-8's on the board. I think it is. Then it's a week 9 bye. And I would think, for me, in this moment, it's hard to imagine Shedeur Sanders is not starting week 10 at the Jets. That's how it feels right now to me. And that is why that game was so important, because I couldn't say this and I think be taken seriously if Shedeur didn't play to the level he played at in that football game on Friday. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't just try and will it into existence. Yeah, I'm rooting for Sanders. I like Shedeur Sanders. But you got to go off what you're seeing. And what you are seeing is a guy with star power who at some point the Browns need to give a chance. And at some point will be in an easy position, I believe, to give him that chance. We'll find out how week 2 of the preseason looks. But to be clear, the onus is on Gabriel. The stress is on Gabriel. The pressure to deliver is on Gabriel. Because Shedeur just delivered a 10-8 round. It was a no-show, not even 8. Be right back with you here on Game Time Decisions.
We all know nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino, but playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour, but online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
You know, at a 30 teams game, only 10 have a winning record against left-handed pitchers. 10-19, and there's one team that's 12-12.
See, I
think it's the Yankees.
Yeah. See, I didn't know the exact number, Scott, but I would have, I knew where you were going with this. In which there's just not as many left-handed hitters. They're not as good against them.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid. This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Yanks make it a Yurfie in their game against the Twins with a Cody Bellinger solo home run. That is 1-0. It is still 1-0 in Cincinnati and Philadelphia. Abbott did give up a base knock to JT Realmuto in that inning. It is the only hit so far for Philly in that game until Edwin Sosa actually just had a leadoff hit there. So now the Phillies could be threatening. We may get a couple of, or we do have a couple of games starting in that 7:40 window tonight. Let's just go through those quickly in case anybody wants to get in the mix. You've got White Sox Tigers Detroit around a minus 150 favorite. It feels like a bit of a bounce back spot for Paddock, who was taken to task by his former team in Minnesota when he made his Tiger debut. White Sox off a win. I don't mind a fade spot there. Brewers have to be tempting, if only as a parlay piece, but ultimately you're getting underneath minus 200 for the 73-44 Milwaukee Brewers, throwing Jose Quintana against Andrew Heaney and the Pittsburgh Pirates. I don't know what the sell on the Pirates are. Some might think it's a Heaney spot. I didn't find it to be. If you want, it might just be, Brewers are going to lose. Yeah, at some point the Brewers are going to lose. I don't know if they lose that one. Bailey Falter gets his second go-around since being an addition for the Kansas City Royals. Goes up against Cade Cavalli, whose start for the Nationals was really strong. It was only 4 1/3 inning, but he did not give up a run, only walked 1, struck out 6, just 3 hits. I don't mind an under in this game tonight at 9. It's a little expensive, though, around minus 122 at last look. And then you got Miles Michaelis against Dollander in Cardinals-Rockies here. This is a total that's dropped a little bit from 9 to 8.5. That 9, again, was a little bit interesting on an under, but it's long gone. It's more of a zag spot. Like, if you're betting the under in this game, you want to be getting a strong number. I didn't think we were getting that at all in Cardinals-Rockies, so it was another stay-away game for me, even if I lean towards a bit of a lower scoring contest. Elsewhere on the baseball board tonight, keep your eyes on this Nathan Eovaldi start. Again, I don't think he can really win the Cy Young. I think he's just missed too much time. But he's been so good. And his most recent outing was his most noteworthy outing, which is 8 innings of one-hit ball against the Yankees. Didn't walk anyone, struck out 6. If we see Eovaldi get through this game with 1 or fewer earned again, it's going to become more of a conversation, especially since it seems like Screwball's loosening up the grip. Now, I will say, I don't think Eovaldi has a case over Screwball, and I cannot imagine that at any point will change. But you can tell the odds are starting to shift to protect themselves from the run that Nathan Eovaldi is on. Red Sox-Astros is going to be starting in about 40 or so minutes, an important start for Crochet in that race there. I lean towards Houston. I'm not running towards Houston. It's certainly one, though, to watch tonight here as the Astros need it. You could easily argue more than the Red Sox, despite having the better record. I'd really like under in Angels-Dodgers. Jose Soriano is an up-and-down pitcher who occasionally is brilliant and is occasionally bad. Take his last 2 starts. 4 innings, 7 earned runs against the Rays. The start prior to that, 7 innings, 1 earned run against the Rangers. I think Soriano's going to be pretty good here in a bounce-back spot. I think Yamamoto is going to start to get on a run. I know he's battled with consistency a little bit, marginally, but a little bit. I think Yamamoto starts to get on a run. Giants-Padres was tricky for me tonight. I can't get a good read on Logan Webb post-All-Star break here. He's booked as a minus 130 favorite, though, against Yu Darvish. We do have a big-time 10 in A's-Rays with Springs and Pepio. That's our guy AJ's best bet in the back if you are interested. His moonshot is also a 45-1 ticket in that game. It's 2+ hits for Diaz, Caminero, Rooker, and Kurtz to give everybody an idea where things are settled up there. Chris's hit-run RBI 3-pack is going to start in just a little bit, too, with Hunter Goodman, Alex Bregman, and Mookie Betts. So all stuff to keep your eyes on there. I tossed out the Chase Burns NL Rookie of the Year. You are now with a very legit play on the Cowboys pass attack at 10-1. Let's talk to someone who knows this Browns competition well next.
We all know nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino. But playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour. But online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
You know, out of 30 teams game, only 10 have a winning record against left-handed pitchers. 10-19, and there's one team that's 12-12.
See, I
think it's the Yankees.
Yeah. See, I didn't know the exact number, Scott, but I would have, I knew where you were going with this. In which there's just not as many left-handed hitters. They're not as good against them.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid. This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Game time decisions here on a Monday night. We're now joined by Matt Fontana. Does an excellent job covering all things Cleveland sports. And Matt, I got to say, occasionally I feel like we've called you. Like, I didn't expect you doing this today. I knew we were doing this today, regardless. But as a Friday, you must have knew as well, because Shedeur Sanders took the preseason by storm. Multiple passing touchdowns, over 100-plus yards. They smoked Carolina. For what it's worth, almost a touchdown underdog in the football game. What is your takeaway, and what are some of the reactions you're hearing around the Browns' start to preseason?
It was a lot of fun. Plus 230 money line, by the way, because I did grab that, and I am that level of degenerate, so we're good on that one. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun, Kev, because a question was answered. Can he play? Can he play? Now, I know it's a preseason game, and I know that a lot of that was Carolina's backups, and people can send these tweets and say whatever they want. But, outside of all the hype around Shedeur, there was a legitimate question. Can this guy play in the NFL, right? When you fall to the 5th round, when you're projected to potentially be the 2nd overall pick and people thought you should have been the 1st overall pick, everybody's scratching their head there going, well, wait a minute, what just happened there? So inevitably, you're going to come back to a question of, can he actually belong and play on an NFL field? And he proved that on Friday night that he can. Now, is he going to start in the NFL and have a winning percentage in the NFL above 500, all these things? I have no idea, but I know he can play because I've seen plenty of guys in preseason games that I know can't play. And that was not Shedeur Sanders. So regardless of where they go from here and what if they want to reorder their depth chart, which they didn't, getting ready to go for Philly this week, it just proved a big question. And I think that it's that Shedeur can play. Now, again, that's like step one. Now, step two is he actually going to force the Browns to change something, get him more reps? That remains to be seen.
My current thought is, and you tell me, Matt, if I've gone too far, one of the two veterans get traded. Shedeur ends up QB2 on this depth chart, and out of the bye week, they're ready to give Sanders an opportunity. Where am I wrong, if I am, on that?
Okay, so here's the thing. You asked me that question at 7:55 Friday night before the game. I would say you're wrong on Dylan Gabriel versus Shedeur Sanders. Now, I'll listen that it could be Shedeur Sanders over Dylan Gabriel, but I agree. I think Kenny Pickett's getting traded. I've been on that since before training camp. I think they acquired him because they didn't have any quarterbacks. They got some more quarterbacks. I think we've even talked about it. Everybody goes, well, they wanted Kenny Pickett. They got him first. And I go, yeah, they wanted him so bad. They went out and got 3 more quarterbacks after him. So they must be feeling really good about Kenny Pickett's game for them to go out and get 3 more quarterbacks after him. So I think the hamstring injury dampers things, but like, you watch with the Stafford stuff in LA, you watch, maybe what's going on in New Orleans, if Spencer Rattler starts to struggle, and he had a solid first game. But I do think Pickett goes. I think Flacco starts, and I'm with you. I think week 6, I talked to Warren Sharp last week. He does a lot of football analytic work, and he said by his metrics, the Browns have the toughest 6-game start to the season of anybody in the NFL. So I don't think you want to throw a rookie in there. I think you want to throw Flacco out there. And then, like you said, I'll listen to that, after the bye, London around that time, turn it to one of the rookies, either Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, let me just ask you on this part of it, Matt. Just the current vibe. You have 2 rookie quarterbacks. Yet I feel as if most mock drafts will probably say the Browns are going to take a quarterback in round number 1 next year. I'm not saying Shedeur changed that because you think you have your quarterback, but is the idea still that Cleveland is hoping their franchise quarterback is in the 2026 NFL draft?
It is so funny that you asked me that question and bring this up, because I was talking with somebody yesterday about this. I did an interview yesterday, brought this up, and I texted somebody about this yesterday. I don't think, save this clip, I don't think there is anything that can happen this season that will stop the Cleveland Browns from drafting a quarterback in the first round next year. And I say that relative of, I just don't think they're going to give the rookies enough games. If they go out there and start 5 games, and even if they go 3-2, I really think it is going to take something Herculean, move a mountain for the Browns to not draft a quarterback next season. I've seen crazier things happen. I'm a Browns fan, but I don't think they're going to have the opportunity this year to change that narrative.
The one scenario is Arch actually doesn't come out, and all the Browns care about is finding a way to get Arch in the building. Let's now again, I knew we'd be talking. I did not know August 11th we'd be talking Guardians baseball. Didn't have that on the bingo card at all, Matt. I give you credit. You were saying, look, don't sell, ride it out, see what happens. Half game back of a wild card spot now. All of a sudden, the Red Hot Guardians.
Well, it's funny because Stephen Kwan has not been playing well, and he's the guy that would have traded. So it's like, I do think that they got a little kick in the pants about, hey, we didn't trade anybody. I mean, of significance. Like, I wanted Bieber to stay, but it's fine. But they're really feeling it right now, and they're piecing it together. They're scrapping it together. They're getting the contributions from the lineup from the guys that are not every name, everyday type of players. And even then, Jose Ramirez has been playing well, but again, it's been Kyle Manzardo who's hot, and Daniel Schneemann. So they're right in this, and it's going to keep coming back to pitching. And can they overcome some bad starts? Like, say, Slade Ciccone just didn't have a real good start on Sunday, and they overcame that, almost came back on that game. But they're right there, and they're in it. And do I think they're going to make it? A lot of the year I was saying no. And for the first time, I'm really starting to buy in. You're at this point of the season, but it's still just this, like, you're just on this hair trigger where you're asking the Tigers to continue to choke this thing away. The Guardians have played well, but it's not like they've gone on a 22-game win streak or something like they did a couple of years ago. Like, they've had the Tigers starting. So as long as they can keep, kind of losing some close games here and there, the Guardians can keep picking up. But yeah, I'll take a wild card spot too. So I think the fact that they didn't make the trade, they've got some momentum going. Next couple weeks, obviously, will tell the real story on who this team is. But it's a lot of fun. I sit down every game. I know they're off tonight, but I look forward to every game, and you feel every game is a must-win type of thing.
Can I just, with about the minute or so left we have, just give you the room to explain to people who maybe don't know how incredible Jose Ramirez is, even if he's not on an unreal heater at this moment, but just he, last season, top 5 MVP, couple seasons before that, 4, 6, 2, 3. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, it doesn't feel like he ever is ever actually going to win one, but gosh, is he in this race every year, or at least getting votes every year. He's been so consistently good for this ball club for almost a decade and a half now.
Yeah, and it's funny because Jose Altuve just passed the record the other day where he's only one of two active players with 250 home runs and 250 stolen bases. The other is Jose Ramirez, and he did that a little while ago. So like Jose Altuve does it, everybody goes, "Oh my gosh!" Like Jose Ramirez does, and it's like, he doesn't get the respect, and it's crazy because I thought he was going to need to win an MVP to make the Hall of Fame. And now I watch how he plays and understand that he's just going to be an era that he's not going to be able to overtake Aaron Judge. And thank God Shohei Ohtani's in the National League now. But the way other players talk about him too, I feel really confident saying he's going to be in Cooperstown one day. I think he's going to be there. He's an electric player, and truly, especially in today's day and age of baseball where you have three guys in all of baseball that's batting over 300, he is truly a 5-tool player. He has contact, he has power, he has an arm, he is fast, and he plays great defense. Like, he is one of the best players in baseball, hands down. He doesn't get the recognition. I think it's part because of Cleveland, but there are players around the league that always bring him up.
Yeah, and again, that's why I wanted to give you that room there, because I always been a J-Ram fan. The guys in the back, they adore him every year. And they're right, and you're right. Matt, we appreciate it as always. We'll see you when the next time we run it back.
Oh, we got joint practice this week in another game, so Shadur online for it, guys. Appreciate it.
Again, make sure you are following Matt Fontana for all things going on with this Browns quarterback race and all things Cleveland sports. We'll be right back with more Game Time Decisions.
We all know nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino. But playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour. But online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Out of 30 teams game, only 10 have a winning record against left-handed pitchers. 10-19, and there's one team that's 12-12.
See, I
think it's the Yankees.
Yeah. See, I didn't know the exact number, Scott, but I would have, I knew where you were going with this, in which there's just not as many left-handed hitters. They're not as good against them.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid. This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Back with you right here on SportsGrid, taking a look at the AP Top 25. Now, the AP Top 25 has the same first 14 teams as the coaches poll. They have the same slot, actually 7 through 14. But I want to focus on 1 through 9. That's where I want to put our eye here on this Monday night. Texas, Penn State, the defending national champion Ohio State Buckeyes, Clemson, Georgia, Notre Dame, Oregon, Bama, and LSU. A couple of differences with the coaches poll. The coaches put Ohio State 2 and Penn State 3, where those were flipped in the AP Top 25. And the coaches poll had Clemson actually at 6, with Georgia up at 4. We see the AP poll with Clemson at 4, Georgia at 5, and that knocked Notre Dame down to 6. But these 9 teams that the AP Top 25 had as the top 9, and that the coaches polls had as the top 9, the odds makers are agreeing with. At plus 550, you will find Texas. At 15-1, you will find LSU. And the next closest number, we're talking 33-1, 35-1, 40-1. You're talking bigger gaps. So, to me, I think one of the interesting elements of this college football season, when we're trying to figure out who is maybe worth betting in the national championship market, right? Where can we find value and timing these things correctly? I want you to keep in mind something. I imagine that this feels like it has to be a first. The favorites to win the national championship are an underdog in their season opener. Texas is going to Ohio State. Again, bad job out of the AP poll not making sure that Ohio State was ranked 2 over Penn State. I understand that actually Penn State knocked on the door of finishing first in the AP poll, which is pretty interesting. 1 versus 2, week 1, like that would have been really nice. We actually have a handful of top 10 matchups. We have 3 top 10 matchups in week number 1. Texas, Ohio State, Clemson, LSU, Notre Dame, Miami. But we still focus on the top 9. I think as I started to uptick the college football research, and we will go through it all on this show with futures and Heisman picks and win totals and everything, I will say probably will come post week 0. That Big 12 game will matter. So if you want your Big 12 futures, if you think any of those guys can get into that Heisman race, you're going to want to, move quicker. But it'll probably come post week 0 here on the show, right? We'll have Kevin 7 that week and everything to build up. College football games start that Thursday. We've got, I think, Colorado playing that Friday. So I'm excited for all of it. I really am. But one of the things that I feel like is going to end up happening for me is wanting to identify who from this top 9 is my team. Who in this top 9 am I able to get to the window on and trust for the long run? We could see, I think some may only take a team and that's it, drop it, right? College football a little interesting. You might want to say, let's dance with 2 here, right? If you're dancing with 2, I don't think it can be Texas and Georgia, right? I actually don't know if it can really be, if you're dancing with 2, I don't think it's going to be Texas, right? Maybe you try and pair LSU and Notre Dame, a little further on the back end kind of situation, okay? I think that's on the board. But with this national championship market, I think you're going to have a lot of interesting spots because Texas, Ohio State are going to start, one of those teams is going to start 0-1. One of LSU or Clemson are going to start 0-1. And Miami, and I'm not including Miami because you can see there's a teardrop in the price gap, but one of Miami or Notre Dame is going to start 0-1. That's what's going to happen. Now, due to the expanded college football playoff, you're not going to see these teams go, the numbers aren't going to go crazy. Let's say Texas loses, they're a dog. Texas isn't going to go to 20-1. That's nuts. Could you get 9-1 on Texas? I think so. I think so. If Ohio State gets rocked by Texas in the game, 10-1, yeah, I think that feels on the board. So, and look, it didn't work out in the long run, but I remember entering last college football season. I went with I wasn't inside this top tier at all. I had a Michigan ticket, terrible, and a Miami ticket, and they let me down in the end. But what ended up being the crown jewel was Georgia following the loss to Alabama. It was actually in game. We were tweeting out, if you guys remember Georgia-Bama last year, one of the craziest games of all time. Georgia at one point was leading in the game. They went back to national title favorites. But it is the timing of this top 9 that can make the difference. Because the expectation is all these teams are going to be there. Odds are probably not. Odds are you slap these 9 teams together in a make the college football playoff parlay, and you're not going to actually cash that ticket. And who loses week 1 is going to feel on shaky ground. If Notre Dame then ends up losing their second game to A&M. If LSU can't get going to start SEC play. Right? If those are the kind of things that start to happen. But you also, if it's no big deal, Texas loses to Ohio State, you get plus 950 on Arch and that defense, that could really jump off of the page. So, again, we are realistically going to be doing picks to win all of this in about 2 weeks here on the show. But it's not done until that season is officially over. Can't wait for the start of the college football season. We'll update you on the Major League Baseball board.
We all know nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino. But playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour. But online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
You know, out of 30 teams game, only 10 have a winning record against left-handed pitchers. 10-19, and there's one team that's 12-12.
See, I
think it's the Yankees.
Yeah. See, I didn't know the exact number, Scott, but I would have, I knew where you were going with this. In which there's just not as many left-handed hitters. They're not as good against them.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid. This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Closing it out here on a Monday night. Quickly, in the midst of that segment, I think Shefty actually confirmed my thought of the national title favorite being a dog in week 1. Adam Schefter of ESPN did just tweet out that Texas is the first top-ranked college football team to be an underdog in week 1, according to ESPN research and data going back to 1978. Good enough. And again, the fact that being ranked, Penn State was almost ranked number 1, right? They're not the national title favorite. Texas and Georgia have shorter numbers. Ohio State booked have the same number. So for Texas to be number 1 and a dog is noteworthy. Here's a spoiler. I'm probably back in Casino Chris in that game. And if you don't know, that means Texas. I'll go. Fine, we'll go one step further. I was trying to find an Anthony Hill Heisman Prize. Now that's ridiculous. He's a linebacker who likely converts to an edge rusher. Should have a special season for the Longhorns. I understand Arch is the favorite. I do. But I'm a little frustrated. Why can't they give me a number on Anthony Hill? There's a number on Colin Simmons, who's going to be, Hill's teammate in terms of getting after the quarterback. Give me an Anthony Hill number. Let me waste that. 500 to 1. Let me see this Colin Simmons price. Colin Simmons is 300 to 1. That's a terrible number. She's getting way more on Colin Simmons. But I'll take it. So give me 500 to 1 on Anthony Hill. I might have to reach out to the book. Maybe I'll have the team help me out with that. Update your baseball board. Yanks 3-0 on the Twins. 3 solo shots. Bellinger in the first, Stanton in the third. Ben Rice not far behind as they go back-to-back. And now hitters 3, 4, 5 have homered for the Yankees in this game. Abbott still pitching a gem here against this Phil's lineup. He is going to try and go 8 and then probably pass that over to the bullpen. Taijuan Walker was good. Give him credit, man. Not his fault if they do drop this game. But the Reds are going to look to hold on here and grab an important one off the Philadelphia Phillies. Nerfy, White Sox, Tigers. Paddock worked through a clean opening inning. Brewers, what else is new? They go first against the Pirates. That's Bryce Terang with a leadoff shot. The Isaac Collins at-bats are going to be ones to follow, though, now within that NL Cy Young race. I know there was the update on Burns. Could potentially be shut down. Truly, it is. I'm getting 30 to 1 on one of the best strikeout pitchers in baseball. I'll take a chance. That's all. If you get shut down, it's fine. Like I'm going into this understanding the situation, right? So it's a little bit different. I'm fine with where Burns is at. Runs come across in Nats Royals early as Bailey Falter gives up a 2-run shot to Josh Bell. And we are still waiting on the close of the opening inning in Cardinals Rockies, though it is trending, Nerfy. We'll see what Wilson Contreras does with a runner on. The rest of the way on the baseball board tonight. Some of our best bets and some of our moonshots. We'll start moonshots because I mentioned the Burns NL Rookie of the Year ticket. Some football from Sam, who goes for the Cowboys to have a passing touchdown in each regular season game at 10 to 1. Bregman, Hunter Goodman, and Mookie Betts, all for 2+ hit run RBI. That's plus 619. Booyaka. And then we get a 2+ hit parlay of Diaz, Caminero, Rooker, and Kurtz at 45 to 1 from AJ. Best bets tonight. None of these are off the floor just yet, so you can still get involved. The tennis one already started for Sam. Oh my God. You bet the under. He must be. Oh, now it's looking bad. All right. Yannick Sinner is on fraud watch all of a sudden. Bregman for 2+ hit run RBI for Chris. Over in Rays A's for AJ, the 10. Give me this under. Angels Dodgers, -120. Soriano, Yamamoto. I like Soriano tonight. I think Yamamoto is going to be really good rest of the way. That's how I feel. I have good vibes off Yamamoto. So I like over 8.5. That's at -120. That is going to do it for us here tonight on Game Time Decisions. It's going to be in-game live next, right here on SportsGrid with Scott Wetzel and Gabriel Morency carrying you through a great baseball card the rest of the way and a game in the W. I am sure they will find all of the options. It's in-game live, and it's next on SportsGrid.